Bonjour, welcome to weight distribution. I'm going to start with a pike stretch.
I'm caught up in the game. My attention is on every play and every whistle, but what I'm missing is a signal coming from my kidneys. That signal isn't like a ref's whistle, it's more of a silent SOS, which could be warning me of an increased risk for events like heart attack or stroke. And a way I can catch that signal? A simple urine test called UACR. If you have type 2 diabetes or high blood pressure, talk to your doctor about the UACR test. Detect the SOS. Visit DiZTRiBYUXON.com to learn more.
You're jamming your favorite song, and while you aren't
I don't know why there's commercials
you could be
on,
missing a signal from your
but
body. It's
I'm
an
playing
SOS from your kidneys, and
a
it doesn't
podcast
sound
that
like
I've
music
never
at all.
listened
It's
to
silent.
before.
High blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, and other risk factors.
They're talking
can
about
cause
type 2
stress
diabetes,
leading
but
to
it's about
negative impacts on the
stoicism.
heart.
Stoicism
That's
philosophy
why you should ask your doctor
is
about a simple urine test called
what I played.
UACR.
Let me get the
Most
time
use the
going.
signal for hidden kidney disease
So,
for related
20
purposes.
minutes.
You shouldn't. Visit
Almost.
DetectTheSOS.com today to learn more.
I'm caught up in the game. My attention is on every play and every whistle.
So,
but what
and
I'm
there are
missing
commercials
is
in a lot. They got commercials going.
That
So,
signal isn't like a ref's whistle. It's more of a silent SOS.
we'll see
which
if
is warning me of an
they're gonna
increased
let
risk
us
for events like heart attack
listen
or
to
stroke.
stoicism
And the way you
philosophy or
catch
not.
that signal? A simple urine test called UACR. If you
They
have
keep
type 2
talking
diabetes
about
or high blood pressure,
diabetes.
talk to your doctor about the UACR test. Detect the SOS. Visit DetectTheSOS.com to learn more.
Have you ever experienced being overwhelmed by the stormy seas of your emotions, or feeling lost in the turbulence
This
of
is
negative thoughts?
Stoicism
Would
philosophy.
you believe me if I told you that the ancient wisdom of Stoicism could help you find your way through this dark time? Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not over outside events." Today, we examine these profound words. Realize this, and you will find strength. This powerful statement starts a journey that will change your life. Come on this journey with us as we find 7 lessons from Stoicism that are not just lessons, but ways of life. With a heart full of courage and a mind full of unwavering emotions, these lessons will guide you to control your emotions and sail through life's storms. In the midst of life's chaos, welcome to How to Get Rid of Negative Thoughts Using Stoicism, your guide to finding peace. Lesson 1. Know what you can control. Have you ever found yourself in a storm, but not the kind with rain and thunder, but the storms of life? Unexpected events, letdowns, or abrupt modifications. The dichotomy of control is a lesson from the Stoic philosophers of ancient Greece and Rome that feels like a lifeline in these storms. Think about this. You're planning an outdoor event, but it rains at the last minute. No matter how much you'd like to, you can't control the weather. But how you feel about the rain is completely up to you. You could be sad and angry, or you could figure out a way to deal with it. For example, you could move the event inside or enjoy the rain as a change. A Stoic philosopher named Epictetus, who was born a slave and became one of the most important thinkers of his time, said, "Some things are in our control and others not." That sounds easy, doesn't it? But there is a profound wisdom found in this simplicity that has the power to change our lives. We face many situations every day. Some of them we can change, like the books we read, the people we hang out with, and our daily routines. But there are many things we can't control, like global events, other people's actions, time passing, and yes, the weather. This is where things get interesting. Stoic philosophers thought that how we interpret and respond to external events determines how happy we are. Our emotions aren't caused by the event itself, but by how we think about it. Remember a time when you had to face adversity. Perhaps you didn't get the job you wanted. Everything felt bad at the time. But after some time, you may have realized it was actually a blessing in disguise that led you to a better chance or personal growth. But how are we going to make this work? Ask yourself, is this something I can control? If the answer is yes, then you should do something about it. If the answer is no, it's a chance to work on being able to accept and change things. We can free ourselves from needless pain by really understanding and internalizing this principle. Knowing that we can't control the wind but can adjust our sails allows us to move through life with calmness. The dichotomy of control is a bright light in a world that often seems out of order. It reminds us to put our energy where it counts most and to enjoy the peace that comes from knowing that some things are out of our control. Second lesson, think before you act. People today value speed and immediacy, so the art of reflection may seem like a thing of the past. So, taking the time to think and pause can be our saving grace in a world where we need to act quickly. Think about how many decisions we face, both big and small, from picking a restaurant meal to choosing a career path. There are many options, but it's not the size of the choices that matter, it's how we approach them. As an example, let's look at reading a message that makes you feel something. Someone at work might be questioning your work, or a friend might make a casual comment. Your first thought might be to defend yourself or get angry. You could jump right into that emotional whirlpool, but what if you took a step back? Your emotions aren't being pushed down when you give yourself that brief break. They're just being given a chance to breathe and be understood. Reflection is not about avoiding or accepting our thoughts and feelings without doing anything. It's about being present with them. It means asking deep questions like, why did this comment hurt me so much? My current emotions are being influenced by what underlying beliefs or experiences I have had. Is my first reaction based on what's happening now or on things that happened in the past? Also, thinking about what you're going to say before you say it is a way to build empathy. By giving ourselves time, we also give ourselves the chance to see things from other people's points of view. That coworker or friend may have been having a rough day and didn't realize how important what they said was. When we think about things, we help ourselves and those around us understand them better. This habit can be very important in relationships. How many misunderstandings could we avoid if we stopped to think before we spoke? How many bridges could be built instead of being destroyed? We find clarity, compassion, and connection when we take time to think. Also, being able to stop and think is very useful in professional settings. People usually respect and follow leaders more who think about their choices before making them. People think they are thoughtful, calm, and smart. Most of the time, their choices, which come from deep thought, last. Reflection is a way to rebel against a world that often seems to be moving at breakneck
7
speed.
minutes.
It's a quiet but powerful way to say that we won't be swept away by the currents of immediacy. Making this promise means that we will take care of ourselves, be happy, and treat others well. It's not just a practice to think before you act. It's a philosophy, a way of life that values depth over breadth, understanding over impulsivity, and lasting connections over fleeting ones. It's a journey inside that has profound effects on the outside world, influencing not only how we react, but also how our lives are put together. Lesson 3. Learn to be impartial. To someone who lives in a world that is often emotional, the idea of practicing dispassion may seem strange. But let's look more closely at what it really means and the power it has to change things. Dispassion isn't about hiding your emotions or not caring about what's going on around you. It's about finding a calm in the middle of the storm. Imagine not feeling overwhelmed by events, circumstances, or even your own emotions. Just think about the last movie that really held your attention. There were times when things were tense, exciting, and maybe even sad. You knew it was just a movie, even though you were interested in the story. You didn't rush to help the hero or cheer for the bad guy like their problems were real. While still feeling the emotions, you were able to keep a sense of distance. A similar approach to life is promoted by the Stoics. It's about being aware of how emotions rise and fall without letting them control you. Think about being cut off in traffic. It is normal to feel angry or upset. For dispassion, you can practice not letting these emotions take over by recognizing them without judging them and then letting them go, like clouds in the sky. This doesn't mean you become passive or apathetic. It just means you have more control over your emotional reactions. Instead of reacting impulsively when faced with a difficult situation, you can take a step back and consider your options. If you can think clearly, you can avoid getting lost in the heat of the moment and make better decisions and take positive action. Dispassion also includes how we react to outside events that are out of our control. It's normal to feel a wave of emotions when a global crisis occurs or when those you love face hardship. We can choose to respond with calm and grace instead of giving up or feeling hopeless if we practice dispassion. This doesn't mean we're cold or uncaring. It just means that even in the face of life's inevitable storms, we maintain our peace. In a sense, dispassion is like an anchor that keeps us steady when life gets rough. It helps us deal with problems in a strong and graceful way. It gives us the strength and stability to be a source of strength for ourselves and those around us. And it reminds us that even though emotions are a normal part of being human, we have the power to rise above them and be the calm in the middle of the storm.
I'm caught up in the game. My attention is on every play and every whistle. But what I'm missing is a signal coming from my kidneys. That signal isn't like a ref's whistle. It's more of a silent SOS, which could be warning me.
They got kidney commercials,
like heart
man.
attack or stroke.
I gotta
And the
turn
way
it
I can
down.
catch that signal? A simple urine test called UA.
They got this awful commercial. So, yeah, try not to lose your cool. It's difficult. Anger. There we go.
Change is the only thing that stays the same in life. Everything around us is changing, from the seasons that change with the months to the cells that make up our bodies that get new cells all the time. Even though change is always happening, many of us still don't want it. There is a fear of the unknown that makes us hold on to what we know and feel safe with. The Stoics, on the other hand, advise us to embrace change as a necessary part of life rather than just accepting it. Realizing that things change doesn't mean to cause fear or anxiety. It means to encourage gratitude and presence. Consider for a moment that everything in your life was permanent, that the people you love would never leave, that your current situation would never change, and that every moment of joy and every moment of pain would last forever. At first, this might sound good, but it will only lead to complacency and stagnation. Being aware of how things change is what gives life its color, depth, and speed. We are reminded that every moment, experience, and relationship is valuable and short-lived. It tells us to enjoy the beauty of a sunset, laugh with friends, and show our love to people we care about, because we never know when it will be our last chance. The difficulties and setbacks we face are also included in the Stoic understanding of impermanence. It's easy to feel defeated and overwhelmed when we're going through tough times. We can find comfort in knowing that this too will pass if we accept that everything changes. Just like storm clouds eventually clear, so do our problems and problems. This is a reminder that we can handle life's storms and come out stronger on the other side. How then do we accept impermanence in real life? It starts with a change in how you look at things, but we don't have to fight change. We can learn to flow with it. like a river that bends and turns as it goes. We can cultivate a sense of detachment from material possessions and external circumstances, knowing that they are transitory, and we can be grateful for the lessons and opportunities that come with each turn in our journey. Being open to the idea that things will change is a lot like dancing with life. You should fully engage with its ever-changing rhythms and find joy and meaning in each new moment. 5. Practice being thankful. 5. Practice being thankful. Gratitude is a simple yet powerful practice that can change how we see the world. It's about seeing and appreciating the good things in our lives, even when things are hard. Being thankful changes our attention from what's missing to what's available, and from what's wrong to what's right. Stoic philosophy recognized the power of gratitude as a means to inner peace and contentment. In their view, we can find happiness in the present by recognizing the good things we have. But how do we show gratitude? Why is it so important? Being thankful isn't just for big acts of kindness or unusual events. It can be found in the simple pleasures of life, such as the feel of the sun on your face, the sound of a child laughing, and the aroma of a favorite dish. It's about enjoying these little things and knowing how important they are. The Stoics actually advise us to consider the transience of these pleasures by imagining their loss. Consider for a moment not being able to feel the sun's warmth or hear the laughter of someone you love. How much more valuable would those memories become? This negative visualization practice isn't meant to make us sad. It's meant to make us value the present more. It's a reminder that the little things we take for granted are really gifts that are worth a lot. The power of gratitude can also change how we deal with difficulties. It's simple to give in to negativity and hopelessness when we face difficulties. But if we practice being thankful, we can stay strong and find hope even when things are hard. For example, you can still be thankful for the support of your loved ones, the care of medical professionals, and the chance to get better even if you're sick. By focusing on what you're thankful for, you can find strength and happiness even when things are hard. How then do we show gratitude in our everyday lives? To begin, just think about what you want to do. Take a moment every day to think about what you're thankful for. It might look like a note in a journal, a mental list, or a chat with a friend. When you practice gratitude, try to be specific. For example, instead of just saying, "I'm thankful for my family," think about specific things or moments that make you thankful for them. These actions can turn into habits that change the way you see things and make you happy and content with your life. Lesson 6. Build your resilience. The capacity to overcome adversity, adjust to change, and persevere in the face of difficulties is known as resilience. This trait can mean the difference between giving up in the face of life's challenges and coming out stronger than ever. In order to deal with life's inevitable ups and downs, the Stoics understood the value of fortitude. They thought that we could face problems with courage and grace if we worked on our inner strength and stability. But how do we build resilience in real life? Change of mind is the first step. We don't have to see problems as problems or
Change your
setbacks.
mind, right?
We can see them as
Says that a
chances to
lot,
learn
how
and grow.
important it is to be able
When
to change your
confronted with
mind.
challenges, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I become stronger as a result? By rethinking problems in this way, you give yourself the power to face them with determination and resilience. The capacity to control stress and unpleasant emotions is another crucial component of resilience. To develop inner calm and emotional equilibrium, the Stoics recommended practices like mindfulness and meditation. You can stay calm and centered during life's storms by doing these things. This will help you make good decisions and act in the right way. Being resilient also means being able to deal with change and uncertainty. Life is always changing, and our plans and goals need to be shifted around too. Stoics say that we shouldn't hold on to a certain outcome or fight change. Instead, they say we should be open to the ups and downs of our journey. We can stay true to our core values and go with the flow of life. We can face uncertainty with confidence instead of fear because we are able to adapt. Last but not least, community and connection give resilience strength. Having a network of friends, family, or mentors who are there for you can give you support and direction when things get tough. One powerful way to build resilience is to talk about your problems and ask for help when you need it. In essence, developing the inner resources to face adversity is what resilience is all about. When you're resilient, you can handle life's storms with courage and grace, knowing that you have the strength to get through anything and come out of it stronger than before. Seventh lesson: live in a way that is in line with your values. To live in line with your values, you have to make decisions and choices that show what's most important to you. It entails taking the time to fully understand your core values and making a commitment to live by them in all aspects of your life. The Stoics thought that we can find true happiness and inner peace by living in line with our values. But how do we figure out what our values are, and what can we do to live our lives in line with them? First, you should figure out what your core values are. These ideas and beliefs will guide your life and help you decide what's most important to you. They can be any values that are important to you, like honesty, compassion, strength, or integrity. Take some time to think about yourself and figure out what's important to you. Think about the times and events in your life when you were happiest and most satisfied. These things can help you figure out what your core values are. Once you know what your values are, you should try to make sure that your decisions and actions are in line with them. This means making choices that are in line with your values, even when they are hard or inconvenient. One example is that if you value honesty, try to be honest with everyone, even when it's easy to lie. Finding ways to help others and being kind in your daily life are important if you value compassion. Being self-aware and responsible are also important for living in line with your values. Check your actions and decisions often to see if they are in line with your values. If you find that your actions are no longer in line with your beliefs, you need to take responsibility and work to make them again. Remember that living your life in line with your values is an ongoing process. As you change and grow as a person, you have to keep reflecting on yourself and making changes. Being true to yourself and being happy happen when you live in line with your values. People who are happy and at peace are more likely to make decisions that will make them happy, even when they face problems and difficulties. Finally, the Stoic philosophy gives you timeless wisdom and useful advice on how to control your emotions and get through life's challenges. To find inner peace and happiness in a world where emotions can feel like rough waves, you can understand what you can control, think before you act, practice dispassion, accept that things change, be grateful, build resilience, and live your life in line with your values. Don't forget that you shouldn't expect to learn these lessons right away. They need to be practiced and thought about all the time. However, you can start to change your relationship with yourself and the world around you by implementing Stoic principles into your daily life. Help the character you saw who was crying. You felt, but you didn't move from your seat. For me, this is what it means to practice dispassion. Deeply involved in life and feeling all of its emotions, but also knowing when to stay in the theater of your mind and watch without getting caught up in the action. In today's information-overloaded world, this approach becomes a lifeline. We get a lot of news updates and notifications every day. If we felt strongly about every piece of information, we would always be tired. Dispassion is a buffer that helps you deal with the world in a more stable and balanced way. Dispassion is also very important in relationships with other people. There are times when arguments and heated conversations happen to all of us. When this happens, being able to remain neutral can mean the difference between a helpful conversation and an argument that hurts both sides. We can listen better, respond instead of react, and handle disagreements with understanding and grace when we do this. Being self-aware is the first step to developing dispassion. This space between stimulus and response is made by regularly checking in with ourselves, recognizing our emotional triggers, and understanding our patterns. That space gives us the freedom to choose how to react and to act on purpose instead of on impulse. And while dispassion may sound like being detached from life's pleasures and joys, it actually makes them better. We can fully immerse ourselves in the journey and enjoy each moment without the constant fear of loss or change if we are not overly concerned with the results. Finding balance in a world that is constantly changing is the goal of dispassion. It's a map that leads to inner peace and helps us move gracefully through life's many terrains. By doing this, we not only make our own lives better, but we also help those around us feel calm and clear. Lesson 4. Ask yourself, will this still be important in 5 years? Fourth lesson. Ask yourself, will this matter in 5 years?
25 minutes.
There will be times in life when our patience, strength, and sense of
Halfway to
perspective
50.
are put to the test. Our days are filled with a
20
variety of situations
in the bank already,
that
so
elicit a variety of emotions.
we're all good.
From minor annoyances,
We can call it
to
quits.
spilled coffee, to bigger challenges like arguments with loved ones. We tend to get caught up in our feelings when we're in the middle of something. It can feel like the end of the world when you miss a deadline, get negative feedback, or forget an important historical date. Will this matter in 5 years? Is a powerful question that can help us see things more clearly. This simple but profound question
Right.
takes us to the future.
School makes
and
you
back
answer
to the
shit all the
present at
time.
same
It
time.
ain't important in
All
5
of a
years.
sudden,
Like,
that heated argument
I mean,
or missed chance looks
it's
very
like all
different.
it is. Just
Most
like
of the things we worry about now will be small details in the big story of our lives that we will never remember.
think about all this stuff.
Think about the problems and stresses you were facing 5 years ago. How many of them are still true? How many have been overshadowed by new memories, experiences, and things you've learned? This realization can make you feel both humble and free. Using this question as a regular
I don't mean
guide
to bang
helps
on
us
school.
figure
I like
out
school.
what's
It's
most
just-
important to
I've
us.
been
It helps us tell the difference between short-term problems and long-term effects. A bad day at work might seem like a lot right now, but in the grand scheme of things, it's just one day in a career that lasts decades. This point of view also makes people more resilient. Reminding ourselves of the bigger picture can help us deal with difficulties and find solutions when we are faced with difficulty. We don't have to get stuck on the problem at hand. Instead, we can plan, change, and move forward, knowing that time often brings clarity and answers. But it's not just about making our worries seem less important. This question also makes us think about what's important. Investing in relationships, personal growth, and experiences that last is important if we want the things we do and choose to matter in the long run. The question, will this matter in 5 years, helps us live a life with meaning, perspective, and peace, even though our world is very focused on the here and now. We can handle the ups and downs of life with grace by coming back to this question often. This will help us focus our energy and attention on what really matters. Lesson 5. Write in a Stoic journal. The fifth lesson is to keep a Stoic journal. Many people from different cultures and times have praised the act of journaling, not only as a way to keep track of events, but also as a way to reflect, grow, and get clear. With their focus on self-awareness and personal growth, the Stoics were used to this kind of practice. A Stoic journal is more than just a record of what you do each day. It's a place to think, talk to yourself, and analyze your emotions, choices, and responses. When events are compared to personal values and beliefs, this is where the outside world and the inside world meet. Imagine ending your day by talking about not only what happened, but also how you responded. What about a certain comment made you mad? What made you feel so happy while you were doing something boring? We can start to understand the patterns in our minds by breaking down our day. It becomes clear to us what makes us feel a certain way, what guides our choices, and how our daily habits shape our lives. Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, kept a journal that is now called Meditations. It wasn't meant to be published. It was a private conversation, a place for him to guide himself, remind himself of Stoic principles, and use wisdom to deal with the difficulties of his life. We can see a man struggling with his emotions, his responsibilities, and his place in the universe through his writings. To get something out of a Stoic journal, you don't have to be an emperor. Setting aside time for self-reflection is even more important in today's world, where there are many distractions and a constant flow of information. Checking in every day is a good way to stay grounded and get clear when things are crazy. This practice can result in profound insights over time. You may find that some situations consistently make you feel stressed, which may lead you to either deal with them or change how you see them. You may find that certain practices, like being grateful or mindful, make you feel better and improve your outlook. You can use the patterns that show up as a guide for your own growth. Besides giving you ideas, a Stoic journal makes you more responsible. You hold yourself accountable for your actions, reactions, and choices when you promise to reflect every day. As a result, it turns into a mirror that shows not only your outside life but also your inner life. A powerful way to apply Stoic ideas to your daily life is to keep a Stoic journal. It's a way to learn about yourself, get better, and take control of your life. You begin a journey of self-understanding, aligning your actions with your values, and living a more purposeful and meaningful life through the practice of journaling. We are responsible for how we act and what we choose to do. When you make the same mistake over and over, it gets harder to ignore it. We are instead told to learn, change, and grow. Keeping a Stoic journal is a lot like having a wise friend by your side who will always be there to listen, help, and guide you. It's a commitment to improving one's self-understanding, living a life that is in line with one's values and principles, and growing as a person. Lesson 6. Look at problems as chances to learn. Sixth lesson. Look at problems as chances to learn. Problems abound in the world, ranging from small setbacks to huge changes on a global scale. Problems are an inevitable part of being human. It would be hard to deal with these problems, but what if we saw them as opportunities? Stoics had a powerful way of looking at problems. They thought that even though we can't always control the events that happen to us, we can control how we perceive them and how we react to them. When you change your point of view, problems stop being setbacks and start being lessons. This idea is best encapsulated in a quote by the Stoic philosopher Marcus Aurelius. What stands in the way becomes the way. Take the example of a river that runs into a rock. Not stopping, the river finds a way around it, either by wearing away at the rock over time or by making a new path. The boulder, which at first glance seems like an obstacle, changes the course of the river. In the same way, problems in our lives can change our paths and often lead to results we didn't expect. For example, a job loss can be devastating at first, but it can also lead to a new career path, an opportunity to learn new skills, or even the chance to start one's own business. It's possible that a failed relationship will help you grow as a person and make deeper, more meaningful connections in the future. This Stoic view also makes people stronger. When we look at problems as chances to learn and grow, we become more flexible and ready to face problems head on. What can I learn from this? How can this experience shape me for the better? Becomes the question we ask instead of, why is this happening to me? Of course, this doesn't mean we should look for problems or ignore real ones. It means realizing that every problem has a solution, a chance to make things better. Taking care of this seed with a positive attitude, patience, and persistence can help us turn problems into opportunities for growth, wisdom, and happiness. Lesson 7. Show gratitude. Gratitude is like a golden thread through the complex web of human emotions. It brings us moments of happiness, contentment, and new perspectives. The Stoics believed in the deliberate practice of gratitude, making it a daily ritual to anchor oneself in the present and be thankful for life's blessings, even though it is an emotion that can arise spontaneously.
35
Being
minutes.
grateful is more than just saying thank you. It's a deep appreciation of all the people, events, and forces that make our lives better. It's about seeing the beauty in everyday things, the lessons in problems, and the fact that everything is temporary, which makes it all the more valuable. Seneca, a well-known Stoic philosopher, once said, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without worrying about the future." This is exactly what it means to be grateful, to be deeply rooted in the present and to cherish every moment, experience, and interaction. Thoughts on the little things we take for granted, the sun on a cold day, the sound of laughter, a meal with loved ones, or even the air we breathe. We can make these moments more beautiful and important in our lives by taking a moment to notice and appreciate them. Practicing gratitude can also help you resist the urge to focus on what's missing, on wants that haven't been met, or on worries about the future. We can cultivate contentment, lessen feelings of envy or resentment, and improve our overall health by focusing on what we do have rather than what we don't. One might wonder how to get better at this practice. It can be as easy as writing down 3 things you're thankful for every morning or every night. Over time, this practice can change the way you see things, making you more open to life's good things and stronger when faced with problems. Gratitude also gives relationships strength. When we thank others for their kindness, support, or love, we strengthen relationships, promote mutual respect, and start a positive feedback loop of love and kindness. Gratitude serves as a gentle reminder of the abundance that already exists in our lives in a world that frequently emphasizes more possessions, accomplishments, and desires. It's a call to enjoy the present, welcome life with open arms, and walk this life path with gratitude in your heart.
Sell it to advertisers. As the saying goes, if the product is free, you're not the customer, you are the product. The digital version of you is being bought and sold by Facebook's real customers. Who are they? You never know. They could be marketers, sell you something, lobbyists,
I don't think, it just started having commercials when I started recording it, the format, but they might have commercials because it's a podcast, I guess, but I don't know. I'm just... Podcast didn't have a... So, what was he saying about gratitude? He said something about happiness, how happiness is momentary. Happiness is about being happy in the moment that you're in and not thinking about the future at all. And so whenever you're able to do that, you have longer moments of happiness. Happiness gets longer and longer, starts lasting longer. All right. So
speaking to the system of schooling not really being the best for children.
This
And
is
I don't know what to do in compared
Jordan
to the previous
Peterson's
statement you've
podcast, the
made,
Jordan
that
Peterson
the institute
podcast.
should not be abandoned.
So that's the conservative conundrum, I suppose, is that it's a mistake to destroy all intermediary institutions, right? That's generally the radical stream. Having said that, you're left with the issue of what you do when institutions have become corrupt. And I think that the education system, the K through 12 education
Only
system,
people
has become
are corrupt. I mean, like the institution is a
irredeemably
reflection
corrupt.
of
Like
what's
Maybe not Acton.
right.
what's
right.
corrupt about it is
Yeah.
how the paycheck is collected. So
Yeah.
Which is funny.
so
Acton might
it's
be
important to
able
understand like
Yeah,
where the money comes
there are-
from. You know, I mean, like there are people who like won't accept like certain
Producing
kinds of money.
education
You know,
systems that seem to be
So,
intelligent variants.
I mean, depending on what
Right, so
level of
I
like
guess what you
the
hope is
institution you
that-
work
and this is
at,
something the United
you know,
States is particularly good at. America is
understanding
remarkable
like
in its
where you
ability
get your paycheck
to
from.
revitalize its institutions through
Um,
relatively radical conceptual and entrepreneurial transformation.
I mean, I don't think there's any reason why any government employee should be paid in any other way than an hourly wage. Like that doesn't make any sense to me as a taxpayer who, you know, I mean, like I go to the grocery store and I buy groceries for a lot of other people. I mean, like
Catherine Bertelsing in
so
her school, which is very different from the Acton school.
there's no reason why the
Um,
people who make those
absolutely
wages
children there are
should be
thriving. It's a very
paid in a should there's no reason why people who
structured
get paid
learning
by the hourly
that makes
workers
tremendous
like
challenging
paycheck.
demands on the kids. And
There's no reason
they're
why
not
they
gonna
should
rate
get
that. I've
paid
never
in a
seen
way
anywhere,
different than the
including
hourly
high-level
work. I mean, they shouldn't
seminars.
get we shouldn't have to pay it at all. You know,
My
I mean, like
attitude towards the
should just
institutions
ask for
is that
money.
as they become corrupt, increasing discernment is necessary. You know, when I went to school, I can't say that I was particularly thrilled with the course of my education, K through 12, but I could at least say of my teachers that they weren't actively trying to dement me. And now we're in a situation where the incompetence, which has risen substantially over the last 30 years in the education environment, is magnified by this insane ideological corruption that's truly pathological. So what do we need? Well, we don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, do we? We want to be discerning in our analysis of institutional structure and do ever more to separate the wheat from the chaff. That's a lot to ask of parents because it's very difficult to do something like assess the quality of an entire education system. But when institutional trust has been damaged, there's no other alternative but to take the responsibility on for yourself and be more perspicacious in your assessment of your children's educational opportunities. It's also complicated, isn't it, by the fact that there are all these new technologies that we just don't know what to do with. I mean, I've been using the large language models as research tools for since they came out, and I use them a lot. And they're insanely informative. And it's the case, for example, that you can ask an LLM like ChatGPT to set you up with a training program for a foreign language, and it will communicate with you at your level. Well,
cool.
We have no idea what the possibilities there are. I suspect it's not going to be long before children have a educational tutor that's privatized, that's an AI that knows exactly what they know and then teaches
This cat
them
knows all kinds of stuff.
at the edge of their zone of proximity.
I was gonna stop posting
They're
my
so
posts
opening up
because
the
like
access
I feel like
for-
I mean the video posts, I mean if once you understand, once you get 20 minutes, you get it. Like I mean after you get 20 minutes, you get this exercise.
Yeah.
But it's not run by
So the reason that I'm continuing to post it is just because
and it's 2 hours
it's
of
winter,
AI
I have a bunch of
and there's an AI
downtime.
teacher that teaches kids
And
at their skill level.
I've learned a
And then
lot
the
from
rest
Jordan
of the day
Peterson.
is more
And
entrepreneurial
he got
ventures,
started on
like,
YouTube.
venture
And
and
so
speaking
I just
which is
figure I'd keep
exactly
going.
what people should probably
Yeah,
be doing.
that and some play.
Yeah.
Well, in Lomberg,
Yeah.
Bjorn Lomberg has pointed out that the introduction of relatively low-cost computational devices, iPads, let's say, that I believe his analysis was in third world countries, an hour a day, very, very
An
inexpensive,
iPad.
produces a 3-year improvement in learning over the course of 1 year. So we have no
Sleeper
idea
by Asus.
how challenged children are
ASUS.
going to be to learn by
Asus is a sleeper.
teaching systems that will be optimized at their level of skill.
I think practically too, if you're looking for a school.
I like
that you
Toshiba a lot, but it's
don't know
difficult to
how
find.
Homeschool or don't want to homeschool.
I want a
You can
Toshiba.
take
That's
them
what
to
I mean.
school
Like,
and you can pick up
I want a
things
Dell
if
desktop
they're
and a
completely
Toshiba
ideological features.
notebook.
Mm-hmm.
Because you take a tour and you look at the
And
code,
so,
look at the art the kids are doing.
between
If
here
there's
and there,
equity anywhere, then you know that the school's a problem.
I'd probably
You
get
go
an
to their website,
Asus
you can
first.
Look up like what are their policies on equity and things. If it'll be plastered everywhere
But
because they don't keep it a secret because they're
I
proud.
use the
So if
phone,
you find a school
smartphone,
and you don't see it anywhere,
and I like the technology
chances
so
are that's
much.
a
I don't want to
more
learn to
school
use another
or
one.
just a
I want to
non-ad
just. I'm doing this right now
school.
on.
So you
The
can
only
go
thing I'm
into
using
more
is a
places, and it
smartphone.
pops out really.
It's an iPhone
But I
17.
think everyone's gonna be learning by AI.
And then I've got just a
Let's
Bluetooth
talk about
speaker
life insurance. You probably have
So
some,
I've
but do you
got
know what you're
2
actually getting
applications
and what you're covered for?
working at
Most
one
people
time.
pay too much for too little. Plus, if you get coverage through work and with your job.
So I think about like the technology, but then I think like, oh, it's like kind of obsolete. I mean, like, but I could get more writing done, you know. But I don't want a notebook to write on. I want a desktop with a keyboard. Like I want a Dell keyboard. I want a Dell keyboard. I want a Dell like optical mouse, a screen. But I don't. I mean, like, I don't even feel like I have anything else to say, because like, it's all about getting the word out about the reefer. I mean, that's like the thing, and so the message is getting out, and we got 6 views. I think people are talking. That's what I think.
Roxana in California.
Hi,
Hi.
thank you so much for having me. So I immigrated to Bay Area 12 years ago, and I have 2 sons that are 10 and 12.
Bay
And I
Area, so there's
homeschool
San
them.
Francisco.
And my question is, how do I raise my children with strong critical thinking and moral clarity in a cultural environment like Bay Area, where wokeness pretty much became cultural hegemony? Because I'm worried that they will rebel against our family beliefs eventually during teenage years, and I really don't want them to do that, of course, and I want them to become like intellectually open and morally grounded as adults.
How old are they?
10 and 12.
What sort of conversations do you have around the dinner
He
table?
talks a lot about families and children.
Well,
raising
first of
children.
all, we always reflect back on the day, and we talk a lot about the positive things that happen to us. That's
Mhm.
our tradition. And we do go into downs of the day, and I pretty much do Socratic method of like asking them more questions and hearing how they think out loud. That's one of the things we do is conversations with questions. at
Do
dinner.
you introduce? I mean, I can imagine since you've already set up that structure, do you introduce an analysis or discussion of current affairs? Like, if you ask them, find something that appears to be a hot, like I don't know how much internet access they have or access to newspapers. You know, pick an issue that appears relevant and tell me what you think about it. Let's discuss it. I mean, you're concerned about the woke ideology, and fair enough. So then you could imagine that what you need to do is to provide them with an understanding of the woke ideology, and so maybe that would be like 30 points. Obviously, a system like Grok could help with that initial analysis.
He's talking about like
you use those
homeschooling.
as topics of
Like give them an
conversation
assignment,
and contrast
30
them.
points
Really what you're trying to do is
on
to
woke
teach them
ideology.
access of
And then, like a debate,
assess
like
them.
assignment,
I think
like,
that
would be
introduce them to the entire
like a
range
Lincoln
of political
Douglas, I would
thought,
say,
from
where,
libertarian to
Or no, it would be a
once.
CX where he would present
Then
the first round is their case, and then present a whole argument of her belief system and what she says. She would school him on why are these wrong.
In
You
my
know,
hometown, who was the wife of the local
tell him to go study it.
member of
Is what he said.
religious-
That was his answer to
who
her.
happened to be
How am I going to
associated
keep
with
him away from
the
woke ideology? He's like, tell him to go study it. That's some stupid stuff. It won't take him long to figure that out.
And this woman, Sandy Notley was her name.
No way, Jose.
Huxley. She really, Solzhenitsyn, she really showed me the literary world. But she also had me read Ayn Rand and Atlas Shrugged, which is obviously much more conservative and libertarian. You know, and when I asked her why she did that, she said she thought I would be intelligent enough to see
It's the
through it.
last minute.
But the point was, she, despite her commitment to what was really a working class socialism at the time, rather than a progressive socialism, let's say, she wanted to expose me to the whole range of political thought. Well, that's an inoculation. Well, you seem like a sophisticated person. Where are you from?
I'm from Russia originally. I was born in Soviet Union, 1987, so I didn't really catch much of the Soviet times.
Right. Well, my experience with Eastern Europeans, broadly speaking, is that they or their families were bit hard by the socialist.
So now
a
headstand
amount of
first.
skepticism about it that's well warranted. You're in a good position to educate your sons. You just start doing that. Educate them politically. Make them sophisticated thinkers. And then they'll be ready when the shallow, woke nonsense comes their way. I don't see that there's no way of dealing with that except to prepare them. And they're old enough and your family seems sophisticated enough so you can do an excellent job of that. Then they're ready, and they can recognize it too. So, Nick?
Yeah. What I started, so my kids are a bit younger. I have a 7-year-old and then 2 tiny beings. I just bought, I don't know if you've heard of the Tuttle Twins. The Tuttle Twins are so good. I love their books. They have graphic novels and then they have some shorter books for, I feel like graphic novels you could start around like 6 or something, but then they have education for kids. And it's pretty much libertarian education. I think it's hilarious. I think it's a really easy, fun way to teach kids about political perspective. Now, it's kind of biased in the way that I'm already biased, so I'm totally fine with giving it to my kid because I think it's true. But just as a practical tool to use, Tuttle Twins is great.
And what age do you think they're optimized for?
Well, Scarlett, she's 7, so she's reading graphic novels, but I think you could read them older too.
That's it.
And then they have actual history.
Yahweh Jean. Yahweh Jean. Yahweh Jean.
I would have loved those.
Merci à Yahweh Jean. Bonjour.
American historical figures, history.